Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Dennis. Welcome to Patina Code. This is So You Want to Build an AD.
I'm cold right out, I'm done. Come on.
Hello again, everybody, and thank you for tuning in for this edition of So You Want to Build an AD, powered by LS Fabrication. And I don't know if you noticed in the background, you see we have a strap going around the top of our truck here. And what that means is that we're going to be moving this cab around. So we got our LS Fabrication B-roll kick panels installed in place. Now, the next thing to do would be get the toe boards in, then fill in the firewall, and then of course this little fill panel right here. But before we need to do that, I need to get the bottom of the cab floor cleaned up and coated. You know, we're going to rubberize it to keep it protected because, as you guys know, as I've said, we drive the vehicles that we build. They're not just being built to take and park at the shows. We drive these shits every time, everywhere. Well, anytime, anywhere, right? No matter the condition of the weather is what I'm getting at. So what this strap is up here is, instead of taking the cab and tilting it forward as we did previously, we're going to be rolling it backwards. And the reason for that is because there's no toe board down here yet. And the reason why there's no toe board in it is because at first I thought I was going to roll it forward. But then with the toe board in place, the frame here would crease it. And that's not a good look. So instead of dropping the chassis, getting it out, putting this down on the cradle, then flipping it again, which still may put a crease in the toe board, because the toe board would be the first point of contact as the truck rolled forward on its axis, and whatever the weight was pinning against, it would leave that indentation in the toe board. I didn't want to do that. So you're probably thinking, well, wait a minute, you're going to do the same thing on the back. Yeah, maybe, but the back of the truck is not going to be seen. So the bulkhead of the bed, the tolerance is so close that you're not even going to be able to see where maybe perhaps we get a little crease here. And if I do, I'm going to work it back out best I can. But as I said, when we put the bed on, you ain't going to see all that back there. So, and we're going to be real gentle and real easy when we do this. So we're not trying to tear up stuff. We're building things, right? But that's the way we're going to go. We're going to roll it back on its back. I'm going to support it. I'm going to get a 2x4 to put under it as a safety prop. But then we also are going to wrap the strap up here around in the rafters, lock it down to keep it in position as I'm standing in front of it or underneath it, however you want to look at it, cleaning it off with the wire wheel, getting all the rust off of it to get it prepared for the primer paint and then the undercoating. So let's get into doing all that, and then we can get it back down and begin work on our LS Fabrication toe boards. So I'm getting into this, man. Like I told you guys once before, you know, I be doing this stuff and talking to you guys as if you're standing over the fender with me right in here. But let me see what we got going on here. And I haven't even done this yet, so you're seeing it just like I am. And I had to go into the baby hawk stage. And actually, the cab's really not that heavy. It's just the initial lifting up of it. And right now we're doing a balancing act. And this is when we start moving slowly. Right now it's balancing itself, and it's on that little ridge back there. Now here's the trick. We got to get the hook up here. And I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, I guess you might be able to. There's a hole right here. So I'm hoping I can hook into that hole. Oh yeah, we got that. So now I can pull the strap to draw tension. And then when it's time to release this, I'm going to have to tilt the cab back just a little further in order to get the tension off so that I can get the hook released from the floor down here. All right, we don't want to get too much. Let me pay attention to what my ass is doing instead of talking. So I do have a 2x4 at the rear back here, but I'm not quite sure. So now I'm gonna go around the other side of the cab and kind of, you know, just let it come down gently and set it in position. But I'm gonna use that 2x4 as sort of a prop. This is the balancing act, man. This is the daredevil shit. But, you know, if I were you guys, I would definitely enlist some help. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, no, you don't. Yeah. All right, now we got him. Let's see what's going on here. So there you go. Look at this shit. Man. Hey, we got that part of it done. Now it's time to begin with the sanding of the floor. You can see where we have our bracing welded in, everything's spot welded in, ready to go. There's a couple tabs that need to be spot welded to each sides of the rockers that come off of the floor bracings up there. Then we can begin with the wire wheeling, getting all of the rust. It's not heavy scale. There's no holes. We repaired the spot where there was a hole. We're good to go. We just need to cut back some of the rust. We're going to do that with the wire wheel brush. And why I choose wire wheel brushing is because you do not deplete the metal as much as if you would with a orbital like a DA or a sanding pad or something of that nature, to where it's actually going to take away metal along with the rust. Okay, so I tried to dust myself off. Well, you see, the shit didn't work. So anyways, what we need to do now, why we have the cab back here, and you want to be careful because we have it resting, you know, across the 2x4. And so too much rocking it might create a crease. I kind of picked it up and looked at it, you know, off camera to see, and so far so good. There's nothing wrong with where it's laying at as far as right back there on that 2x4 for now. But I am going to get the hammers out and start making sure that everything is tight as far as the inner rocker panel sealing to the bottom of the floor. We also, as I mentioned, have to get the bracing at the top here, our front cab mount bracing. There's spot welds that need to be put in place. We left the tabs open because when we welded all this together, I wasn't climbing underneath to do all that, and I knew we were flipping the cab back over. So here we go. I told you step by step. I'm gonna show you exactly how I do this shit. You have to go back and spot weld those wings, those tabs, into the inner rockers. And then this is also a good time while the cab is upside down and you can't have complete and total access to things. You need to be careful though, because you don't want to get the beat banging and rocking the cab too much, because you don't want to end up putting a crease in it. So as long as I don't get too vigorous and too wild with shaking and rocking the cab, we should be a-okay. It's not going to create an issue sanding things off, but I want to be careful because I do have to beat down a few seams here. For those of you who remember, we have a sizable gap between the old floor pan and the forwardmost floor pan section of this truck, leading to the toe board. We had to cut away some shoddy work, and what was left behind was a pretty big margin of a gap. So we're going to break out some flat stock, and I'm measuring here to see just how long I need to cut my piece of flat stock. We're going to revisit, for those of you who haven't caught this episode, of what we have to do to mend this floor pan. But then what I really need to look at is that huge gap we've got between the seat pedestal and the floor. They had, you know, again, it was just a shitty job of doing things, and they messed this up, so it's not straight anymore. They messed this up, so I had to cut it back. So we're gonna probably end up running a piece of flat stock from under here to under here. That'll give this a ledge to sit on, and then we're gonna weld everything solid as far as the flat stock, and then spot weld the floor to the piece of flat stock that comes out, and then maybe run a few stitch welds across that as well. But it's gonna be a lot of work and a lot of time, because I can't just simply run the welder and go all the way across. We don't want to warp anything. We don't want to melt anything. We've been doing pretty good. So I'm thinking I might have to get the flat stock and I'm gonna drill a bunch of holes in it just like we did the bracing so that I can spot weld it, but then of course run some seams as well, and that'll give us something to attach our floor to, because there will be nothing there. And I'm not gonna, I mean, I could gap the weld, that's not that bad, but I don't have like 045 wire, so we're not gonna fill those gaps. We're gonna have to put something behind there. We just have to, that's the only way. And with that said, the work commences. We get our flat stock out, get it clamped to both sections of the flooring, and we begin drilling the holes through it for our spot welds. Then later on, we'll come back and run a few seams on the top and bottom edge of this flat stock to join and make more solid fusion of these two pieces. Cleaning it up, getting it ready, we go through and hit it with some primer. And after that dries, of course, we break out some of the undercoating. We're going to rubberize undercoat the whole bottom of this truck. Okay. As you can see, we just got through doing the whole nonsense, cleaning everything up, got the primer on, and now you see we have the undercoating on as well. Here's the issue. I got so carried away, I forgot that I shouldn't have sprayed right across there, because that's where the bridge is. Now we need to lay the cab back down and finish sealing up the two pieces of the old floor and the new floor. So we're going to have to be spot welding and then spot welding, and then as the spot welds get closer, then we'll run the seams and join them all together and grind it all flush, and then we'll have a nice solid floor on the top side. Problem is, we're going to burn through some of our undercoating and it's going to stink, but you know, what do you want? I'm a human. I'm not professional. So I kind of got in the moment. I was like, yeah, we making progress. And I forgot that we still needed to weld on the other side of that. So what we got to do is get the cab down, weld everything up, clean it down, you know, sand it down, get it flush. Nice. So that when we put our sound deadener in, it'll go down and won't be having any of the welds messing with it. After we do all that, then I need to flip the cab back over, clean away any of the burnt undercoating and primer, hit it again, let it dry, then set it back down. And then we'll finally be done with the underside of the cab. So it's time for me to set the cab back down. Getting ready to do it right now. Got to make sure I got all my stuff out. Here's a body hammer. And we have a light in here. Other than that, we're good to go with the process of getting this thing set back down. I've released the strap already, so we're good to go. Again, gotta use caution. Take your time. Got them balancing. Now we just need to get around everything here. We got a welder in the way. And then of course, you have the running board mounts. So I'm gonna put most of the weight forward, because if it starts to come over because of the inertia of weight, I'm already up here so I can stop it from falling. So if it would start to fall, I could be like, you know. If it was going back and I'm this far forward, it's going to yank me back, and then definitely we're going to damage the back of the cab. And when I get this set down, we're going to go around the back from where this was sitting on the 2x4s. I'm going to show you where it was laying across the back of the truck so you can see there is no crease or any damage. Let's see here. All right. And now, you know, the floor pan, look at that. They're solid, man. But we need to straighten things out on the inside. And join a few pieces from things I had to cut away. Bring this joker on down. Oh, yeah, it's kind of stout. All right. Use your legs and your lats. Down, man. All right, so let's get on the inside and look and see what it is that I'm talking about. I'm gonna take you with me. We ain't cutting away. We're going right to it. So you know this ain't no nonsense. Now this might be a little difficult for me to show you, but this is what we're gonna be working on. We need to join here and here. So even though the bracing, and look at the spot welds, they penetrate it, it's good to go. You say, well, just leave it. Nah, you can't do that because we got gaps here. So we're gonna join these, put a metal, some sheet metal, same thickness as this, join this, and then all the way on the end, you have, you know, a severe gap. I wanna straighten that out. So the floor looks pretty good though, man. I'm happy with it. I can't wait to get done. Then of course we need to flip it back over, knock away whatever got burnt, reprime it, and then undercoat it, let it dry, set it back down again. And the part, you know, I don't have to do the bracing actually. So once I'm done with all the undercoating, I can set it back down. But I can't do any more work in here because I want it all to dry and adhere, and to start working up here on the toe boards, it's going to create a problem. Now, I did leave the very ends of the toe boards without any coating because we're going to have to weld our toe boards to that portion of the floor here. And that's not a big deal. Once we get the chassis out from under it and I get this sitting up on the jack stands before we lower it onto the dolly, that's when I'll climb under and I'll undercoat. And just to undercoat that little section, that ain't shit compared to if it was sitting down and doing the whole thing. So when we come back, we're going to be doing our toe board installation. Can't wait to get started on that. I appreciate you guys out there. And once again, big shout out to LS Fabrication, Joe's Racing Products, and Champion Cooling Systems. I'm Dennis for patinacode. You can check me out on Instagram. Just go on to Instagram and type in patinacode. It's, well, if you want to look up the username, it's PATINA_code. But go in there, check it out. You'll get to see everybody that's on patinacode, the rides they're building, the projects they're working on. And I got some really dope videos of just the daily running around with these trucks that we own here. And I think you guys will enjoy that page. If you're enjoying the YouTube channel, you'll definitely enjoy the Instagram page. So go check that out, man. Grab your shirt, support patinacode, support the page, support the channel. I appreciate you guys out there. Thanks for watching. Stay with me.